Welcome, welcome, one and all. Welcome to this wonderful empowerment hour. I'm very excited to be here, and it's our pleasure, the final empowerment hour for the year 2020. So if you're just coming in, just join the broadcast and make sure that you share. We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. So go ahead and share. And we're going to have some fun this afternoon. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have some fun. So we have with us my co-host, Prophetess Wanda, and also along with me is our guest for the afternoon, Suckoo. And we're very excited to have her because it's a privilege to just have someone share with you experiences and things that are very important. I can see a lot of you coming in, so welcome, and I'm glad to see you. Just type where you're watching us from. We're happy to have you on board, and I'm going to allow also my co-host, Prophetess Wanda, to introduce herself. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Prophetess Dr. Angela Reynolds, and empowerment always very important to us because we want to make sure that we give you food for the soul, not only spiritually, but also physically and emotionally, psychologically, all of them. So just tell us where you're watching us from. We're very excited. It's the last one for the year. It's also the last session on coping in the pandemic. When we start in January, it's going to be brand new topics. I know a lot of you are excited. We're going to be talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things, mortgages, all these different things. We're going to be just coming, and we're going to just make sure that you are ready and pumped up for 2021. So my co-host, Prophetess Wanda, is here, and I know she just want to welcome you too. So go ahead, Prophetess, and just welcome them to the platform too. Prophetess Wanda.
Welcome all. Yes, welcome. Yes, hello, I'm Prophetess Wanda, and welcome to Empowerment Hour. Please share the broadcast, and I'm so happy to be here to to just end this new year on a powerful note. A powerful note where we're going to get information that's going to help us. So I'm just so excited today, because the new year is going to bring new things, new beginnings, new healthy mindset, so today is a day for us to just empower ourselves with information that we need, that we're going to use into the next year, but also that, you know, we are so happy that this year is almost over and God has sustained us. He has sustained us in just a mighty way. And he has given us some, you know, wonderful topics to discuss during this pandemic, you know, and I'm sure each and every one of you used the information that we were able to, you know, bring forth with our guest speakers. And so, you know, welcome and share the broadcast today, because it's going to be another powerful session. So welcome.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. And we just want to just dive right in. And before we dive right in, I just want to make sure that Maureen knows that we welcome her on the platform also. And it's very, very, such a privilege to have such experts in the house, people who are working in healthcare. And we celebrate our heroes. We have the firemen, we have the those that work in the hospitals, any form of healthcare, the essential workers. In this time, we celebrate everybody that has been working hard. And so I want to tell you a little bit about Maureen so that you know more about her. And so Maureen is a radiographer, and she specializes in the area of radiology and special procedures, or what you call interventional radiology. There right now where she's working, they treat a lot of COVID-related complications such as strokes, blood clots to other areas of the body, patients who have lost function of their kidneys, leading to dialysis, a lot of things. And so she's here tonight to talk about staying healthy during the pandemic and how to take care of our bodies, our mind, and our soul, and good nutrition and all the different things. So we're very happy to have Maureen with us. And Maureen is going to be taking it right now. And so welcome her and let her feel very welcome on the platform. She's also one of our daughters in GRM, but she's going to use her expertise tonight. So welcome, Maureen. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So I work at a Fort Worth hospital in the Texas. And like the prophet has said, I work in an area of radiology called interventional radiology. It's basically a lab that takes care of different procedures, sort of similar to a cardiac cath lab, but in a radiology setting, taking care of every other part of the body. And one of the biggest complications we see from COVID is blood clots. So everywhere, you know, blood clots that cause strokes, blood clots that cause pulmonary embolism that's in the arteries of the lungs. And because of that, you know, a lot of COVID patients are ending up on ventilators. There are ways to treat some of those diseases. Basically, it's a clot buster that we use to take care of these blood clots, you know, for the strokes that are caused by blood clots in the brain. We actually have something called a stent retriever that we go in and actually suck out the clots and allow patients to have, you know, good blood flow to the brain, and, you know, therefore can make it out of the hospital a lot of times in really good shape. You know, other people can have blood clots to their legs, and, you know, a lot of people end up losing their legs because this disease is just what causes a lot of clots all over the body. And so it's really important that we take care of our body. You know, it's about caring for the whole being, the body, the mind, the soul, and nutrition is really one very important thing. We need to eat healthy, and this means eating more plant-based foods, making sure you get good nutrients, and, you know, those also help to reduce the toxins in your body. The less medical issues that we have, the less impact the disease will have on our bodies, and the better our immune systems will be able to cope with the disease. Eating well means having to make good choices about what we put in our bodies. We need to reduce the amount of fats and sweets. These in themselves will cause other issues that will make you more susceptible to the COVID disease. For example, The fatty foods in your diet can cause high cholesterol. High cholesterol makes the blood harder to flow, makes the heart harder to function. It's just a big load on the whole body, and as a result of that, you tend to develop high blood pressure. High blood pressure in turn causes formation of aneurysms in your brain, formation of plaques in all the blood vessels in your body, and things like that. Eating a lot of sugars and a lot of carbs will also cause things like diabetes. So then you're stuck with having to take metformin or some other medication that can lower your blood sugar, may sometimes even be on insulin for the rest of your life. These are also things that will cause damage to the kidneys, damage to the liver, damage to your pancreas. So it's really important that we have a balanced diet, not just a plant-based, but whole foods, whole grains, cut back on the rice and the potatoes and stuff like that. Just make it an overall healthy diet. If you're diabetic, obviously you're going to want to watch your fruit intake, because that's a lot of sugar comes from fruit. So you have to kind of balance it out so that your body gets what it needs. A lot of these disease also end up causing your kidney to get so damaged between the sugar and the high blood pressure that you end up on dialysis, and that is not a good thing to be having. It's really detrimental to your whole being. It's going to dialysis 3 days a week. It's a lifestyle change. It's not being able to eat what you want, and even just a little. You have to limit yourself with what you eat, and to be quite honest, it's life shortening. So preventative care is so important. It's not a bad thing to get a yearly checkup, because a lot of the issues that patients have can be addressed before they become these big problems that are going to take so much more to correct. It's just really sad to see patients that have, for example, high blood sugar that come in and they have a sore on their foot that it can't be healed because the sugar is so high in the body, it just doesn't heal. The blood vessels don't work as well. They're small. And then eventually you have to get your foot, your leg, sometimes amputated. So again, it's really important to get your yearly checkup. Don't wait until you're sick before you go to the doctor. These are all treatable diseases, and they can have good outcome if diagnosed early. But preventative care will save your life, will allow you to take better care of yourself, because if you know that there is an underlying condition, you're going to do everything you can to make sure that you don't end up with the end stage of that disease. Still answering the question of why, again, because COVID tends to be more vicious to these patients with all these underlying conditions. Patients that are obese or overweight have a really bad risk of forming blood clots all over the body, leading to, these various things that I mentioned before: strokes, difficulty breathing, leading to mechanical ventilator on a respirator, amputation of the legs, etc. And I'm not saying that everybody ends up with the worst case scenario. By no means this is so. But there are ways to treat problems. The outcomes will be varied, and based on the patient's ability to respond to the treatment will determine, the outcome. If the symptoms are treated fast after the onset, then obviously your body's immune system is more fit to overcome the disease. If you are healthier and you have a strong immune system, your recuperation time is going to be shorter. For example, things like treating brain aneurysms. If you end up with that, for example, there are good ways to treat those if they're caught early. You can use a catheter and put coils up there in the brain instead of having your brain craniotomy where they have to drill and cut into your skull and all that. So, you want to make sure that you find any ongoing problems early and again, get treatment for what there is to be treated. And if you feel like you're not getting enough nutrients because you're not eating properly, it's not a bad thing to take multivitamins, especially if you're older. So that's the nutrition part of it. Sleep, it's very important that you get your sleep. Most people will benefit really well from about 8 hours. And, we all require different amounts of sleep. We also tend to get way less than we should. This is the way your body repairs yourself. It's the way God talks to you and gives you your dreams. And so that's important to just let your body go in repair mode. Exercise is another thing that we need to be concerned, because that's also taking care of your body. The gym obviously is not a good option right now because of the COVID environment, but you can certainly do video workouts. You can go for walks. You can, play ball, play catch in the backyard with your kids. But you need to exercise to get the heart going, to get the blood flowing, and, jump rope if you have to, just to get yourself moving. Taking care of the mind is also how you take care of the body. Play to reduce stress. You need to find a creative outlet, something you enjoy, something that stimulates the brain. Volunteer, find joy, just play a game, make someone's day. So we get to the part where we're taking care of the soul. Pray for anything, for everybody, for one another, for COVID to be over, for the sick. You meditate, take your mind out of survival mode, and just try to enjoy the day, enjoy the life that you have now, and then give thanks for being alive, because it's been such a bad year. I mean, we all have had difficulties, if not being sick, it's being out of a job, and having to take care of your kids at home and school them from home. That's really a lot of stress on any young family now, having to take care of the kids. I'm really happy that I'm not in that situation, but I feel for everybody that's in that position. It's really a ton of work, and it just adds great stress, especially if you're not working, there's no money coming in, and there's no help. But you have to find joy in what you do have. Just pray and give thanks. So some of the things that we can do to stay safe, with all that being said, we still need to take care of our daily activities, using all the safety advice that we've been using for the past 9 months. We wear our mask, and when we wear a mask, don't just cover your chin, cover your mouth and your nose. It's beneficial to you and to the people around you. Stay at least 6 feet away from each other. You minimize your guests, and no crowded places unless you can socialize at a distance. Use your credit card for purchases if you have to buy anything. It's so much easier than exchanging money. Money carries germs. And if you're ordering online, tip with your credit card. That way you're not coming into contact with anybody. And definitely clean everything as you go along. When you go to the grocery store and come home, you need to wash all your fruits and vegetables before you put them in the refrigerator. You're cleaning your counters with disinfectant wipes. If those are not available, you can make yourself some at home. You can use a bleach solution, 3 to 3/4 cups of bleach to a gallon of water, and you wipe your surfaces. You leave it on for 5 minutes, and then you wash it off with just soapy water or, a clean towel. You can wear gloves on public transportation, and not because you're wearing gloves means you're not going to wash your hands and sanitize as you need to. You know, that's single use. You take them and you throw them out after the one use. And you need to travel with sanitizer for your hands. You can clean your doorknobs and door handles, especially if you live in an apartment complex. Don't assume that they're going to clean all of that stuff for you. You know, do the ones that are close to you anyway, you know, and at least that's half the battle right there. You know, clean your carts when you go to the grocery store. A lot of times the cleaning solution and paper towels will be provided, but they're not necessarily clean. So you need to take care of yourself. You need to stay updated on current information about COVID. You need to isolate yourself if you don't feel well. You know, when you're in the same household and if one person is sick, you make sure that they stay in a different room. You get all their utensils to them and you make sure that everything that they use, you know, is separated from everybody else's utensils. And, you know, just make sure that they have everything for their comfort in that room and just stay isolated. The new COVID strain is about 70% more contagious, so we have to even step it up. All those safety guidelines, we have to step those up. They're saying that it's easier to catch, but they don't know that it's necessarily any more detrimental to you. They haven't proven that yet. So, but you know, the fact that you can catch it a little easier, obviously you want to take more of a precaution because you don't want to get it. Anyone with a fever or cough, they should not be traveling. And if you feel short of breath, that's a good sign that you may need to go to the hospital. You need to call your doctor right away because it could mean that, you know, you need a breathing treatment. You may need to get some of this clot busting medication that will help to break up clots that may be in your lung arteries, the pulmonary arteries, we call them. And be prepared. You know, make sure you have enough food, but don't panic buy. Just make sure you have enough supply to last for a while for your family. And especially if you live alone, it's even more of a reason to make sure that you have enough food, because if you get sick, obviously you don't want to get up and, you know, try to go out and get food at that point. And don't forget, it's better to not see someone this holiday season because, you know, taking care of not passing the disease right now could mean that you have more years later with all those people that you're not going to see. That's pretty much all I've got for you. I don't know if anybody has any questions that I could answer.
Yes, Maureen, I would like to ask you something.
Sure.
Are you dealing with the patients directly, or are you in the
I'm
lab?
in the lab. I work in the lab.
Okay. Let me ask you something. Have you know, I have an underlying condition. I have asthma. How is COVID affecting those people that have asthma?
That's interesting because I did read that those people are not as susceptible to the disease for whatever reason. They did a study, and I don't remember where the study was done, but I did read something to that effect, that for some reason, patients with asthma do not seem to be susceptible to the disease quite as much as other people. So that's a plus for you. You can certainly Google it just to find out the details of the study, but I'm pretty sure I read something like that, and I was a little surprised myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you see that more young children are coming into the hospital, or is it the older?
Well, my hospital doesn't take care of children. There's a children's hospital in the neighborhood, and they tend to go there. A lot of the patients that we have are patients. It's more of a public hospital, so a lot of people without insurance and stuff like that tend to get filtered to our hospital. A lot of them are older people. I'm not saying everybody doesn't have insurance, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But yes, a lot of older people, and there are some young ones. I remember going in for a 28-year-old female that had a stroke, and she was actually in her second trimester of pregnancy. And I remember getting a call, and I don't know anything about this person. I just know that I'm going in for it. And I remember starting to pray. And when I got there, and I thought, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm not just praying for one person, I'm praying for two. And that is,
That's what I was about to
oh
ask
my
you. Do
God,
you find yourself
yes.
praying for a lot of
I
people?
don't know. It just comes over me, and I start praying the moment I get the
Yeah.
call. And I remember we worked on her. We had some difficulty with the equipment.
Mhm.
This is how the devil tries to get you. We had some problem with the equipment. The equipment was failing in the room. I figured out how to work it from the control area, and we got the case going. And the next day I spoke with the radiologist, and that we were involved in the care of this young lady, and he said, she's moving everything, she's talking. And I said, thank you, God. Yes.
Glory to
And that
God.
just shows that we have
Mhm.
power. Maureen, you were saying some interesting things earlier when you talk about things like sleep, and a lot of us know that we really don't sleep 8 hours. Well, if I do get to sleep
Mhm.
8 hours, probably I am not at my house. Probably
Uh-huh.
I'm by a hotel or something, and I get to go to and I get to sleep, and we just sleep, sleep, sleep. But in terms of like being at your household and having all the activities, children and everything like that, some of us would like to get the 8 hours of sleep and stuff like that. So then what about those people who are getting like 4 hours, 3 hours? Because some people seem like even though they got 4 hours, they tend to be even more healthier it looking, I can't say, that people are actually getting the 8 hours of sleep. And then you wonder how come they just slept 4 hours and they look so revived.
I
Could it
feel
be
like the body
anything?
deals with what it has to deal with. There are times when I am on call and I only get 2 hours sleep for the night, and people will look at me and say, how do you do it? I said, what are you talking about? I just do what I have to do. I'm at work next day, and there are times when I get 4 hours of sleep a night and I feel fine, whereas other people can't do that. I think your body just copes with it, and the more you do, the more it handles it. And the less sleep you get, the more your body just compensates for it. That's just my personal experience. I don't know about you.
Well, I know for sure that when you are staying safe, it is important because God gives us wisdom. And a lot of people will say to themselves, well, I serve a God that is able. And we do know that no plague shall come nigh our dwelling. And we decree and declare that over our life every single day. And God at the same time knew that the enemy also has plans, and there are diseases and everything that are out there. And yes, we're in the pandemic, and we're not trying to get anybody to be panicky. What we want you to know is that it is important to still be able to wash your hands, still be able to, like she said, wash your fruits and all of these things. There are people touching things. When it's kind of hard, especially when you go out with kids, because my kids, they touch everything. So when they go out, so like we're out and they see the toy section where you go up on those rides and they run to it. And I'm like, no, you still have to be safe. And you see, they don't have things posted at stations like in public where you can go straight to a hand sanitizer. Those you might find in some stores, and technically you don't find it in all stores. You find it in some stores. And then I say to myself, what happens when you go and touch the hand sanitizer too that somebody had just touched and all of that? Because I went to the hospital the other day and I saw people coming in sick, and everybody's touching the same hand sanitizer. So it's just like I'm like, you should have you actually just make sure you have your own hand sanitizer, because
Yeah.
it makes no sense for you to be going to touch in a hospital that is supposed to be the part where you get care. Seem like sometimes you might come out sick instead of going in there for treatment. You might end up coming
True.
out
Very true.
Yes.
But I
and
think I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I think in a lot of the hospitals, you just put your hand under it and it's supposed to flow into your hands
It
rather
should, but
than in front of a pump. Yeah, but you have to be careful exactly where you place your hand so you don't touch where
Mhm.
somebody else may have.
Yeah, because there's some people still utilizes bottles. They don't utilize
Yes.
stations and all of that. And everything is supposed to be touchless. That's what they're saying.
Right.
So
Mhm.
sometimes I wonder, if they if that's something that they should think about in terms of government, and say like in the places where you go, there should be touchless sanitizing stations,
Mhm.
because just as how you want to earn the money and people coming to buy in your store and everything like that, you can't be so concerned about the money that you don't know that people are coming in to touch the clothes and everything like that. I know they have eliminated fitting rooms and all of these things and say you don't need to try on the clothes, but you still need to pick up the clothes, and somebody else just picked up the clothes and we
Right.
don't know. And I see a lot of things happening. There's really social distancing to some extent. You see elevators, and they will say, some elevators will have like hand sanitizer right there. Some don't, and everybody's touching the same button to go up. Not
Mhm.
only that, they will say we only need 4 persons to ride in. Like I went into the elevator like yesterday, oh no, on Sunday, and they were like, the sign is there that says only 4 people must ride, and me and the kids alone made 4. So, but then you had people pushing and still coming in, and then you had the security go, oh, we apologize, people don't. And I'm like, so why are you the security guard standing by the elevator and you're there to make sure that only 4, but you don't, you're just there like everybody's just coping, everybody's just like laid back. And it's like they have adjusted themselves to say that, okay, now we're in a pandemic. Life is just normal. It's the new normal. So we just relax and just act like it's okay. But we're still in a situation where we have to use wisdom, and God has called us for wisdom. And as children of God, we're empowering you to make sure that you don't be ignorant to the fact and say,
Mhm.
because you know that God is going to take care of you, you're going to walk straight into something that is in your path because you say, God says he will take. Let me tell you something. If God doesn't send you on a mission and you go there, you're operating illegally in the
Mhm.
kingdom. So when you go
Yes.
out there and say, God will take care of me, and you go out there presumptuously and go and say, I'm going to go and I'm going to go touch this and touch this person, I'm going to pray and touch them. Listen, Jesus laid his hand on the stick. Jesus said the same power that he has is given to you and stuff like that. But there's
Amen.
also a non-touch situation where you can
Mhm.
also just
Go like
the word.
this.
You just need to speak the word, and the word
Mhm.
of God. Word. Distance is not a barrier to God. Just as how we have social media and we're all seeing each other from distance, we just need to be able to speak. And I'm glad, Marie, that you're also a Christian, where you can walk
Yes.
into these
Mhm.
locations where you have been placed and just open your mouth and speak, and you say to yourself, then why is this lady alive, or you're surprised. You should not be surprised, because some of us are on assignment in
Mhm.
God's kingdom to walk into territories. God has given power to all of us, but to walk into king territories where people are sick, and to make sure that we still, just our presence can change the atmosphere. That's what a lot of people don't know. You don't even need to pray. Just walking in there, the spirit that raised God up from the dead is in you, and just walking in there changes the atmosphere. So, I
Mhm.
know there are a lot of things, and we talk about exercising. Wow. I'm like, exercise is very important. How many of us are exercising? Some people
You're
feel like
exercising.
gym, the gym. I'm like, we got to go start and say, I'm going to have to start getting the kids to just join me because they have so much energy. So probably what we need to do is we need to get our kids to just join in exercising, because the kids are so
Mhm.
energetic. And so
Mhm.
if we want them to loosen up on those energy, we should probably just join
Mhm.
in them. But we're just really,
Yes.
really. So what are your
Go for
suggestions?
walks.
For example, what are your suggestions for people who have children, or people who have uh an overwhelming, like they're still working 2, 3 jobs, healthcare industry and everything. They come in, they're just laid back. What do you say? How do we get the sleep? How do we exercise? What do we do? I know you gave all of that, but
I'll tell you what I do. At lunch, I get 45 minutes. I'll eat in 15 or 20 and I'll go for a walk.
mm,
And I go up the ramps of the parking lot because, that grade helps you a little bit better than just plain old walking. But if it's a nice day, I'll go around the block.
Mm.
You know, you don't have to spend half hour to eat. You know, and a lot of people I know, well, you're from New York, but you're not living in the city per se. Like, you know, a lot of the younger people, they walk all the time. But I think after a while, it just catches up to you.
Yes.
And it's just a bad time. And I'm sure winter doesn't help either, but you've got to find an outlet. You know, if you have a basement, get the kids involved. Jump rope. That's a
Mm.
great exercise for your heart.
Mm.
Play ball in the backyard and on a snowy day, you know, throw snowballs at each other.
That's
They
true.
have the video screens. You can do the video screens where,
Uh-huh.
you know, they do the whole family could do the exercise at the same time.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of people are doing that. I know my sister-in-law, she has triplets. So, and she used to be a radiologist. So, to get the children involved so they're not too much into the computer. Sometimes they're too much into the computer. So she's like, no, you have to exercise. So they have the TV and they stand in front of the TV and they do the exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can do it as a family, which is good. You get your children involved, you're involved. And then they have the little yoga for the children. So they have yoga exercise for the little kids. So that's another good thing for the children.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need to just get involved with different things. Some people go bike riding, which is, you know, an awesome thing, but it depends on where you are. You know, right now in New York, it's snowing, so that's difficult. So we have to find other means. So the yoga, the exercising, you know, and some people have those indoor bikes that they just, you know, do their indoor exercises, which is excellent. But now when you're dealing with seniors, you know, they have these little machines. They're small and they're like pedals to give to let them exercise their hands or their feet. They use them in the rehabilitation center, and it costs like $30 if you purchase them. You can get your grandma into it. Just put it on a table for her hands and help her, you know, exercise her arms and stuff like that. So really, we all just need to get involved with the families, with the grandma, grandpas, the mother and the fathers, you know, exercising and, you know, staying in shape.
Yeah, well, we know that there are some people that really can't afford the machines or anything like that. They have to do the natural thing. So, you know, they have to do like the walk or the play, depending on where you are, because people are watching us from around the world, depending on activities. There are games that people play. In Jamaica, they call it dandy shandy. In America, they call it jump rope, or they might throw balls or something like that. Everybody has their own culture. It's something just to keep the body active.
Yeah.
But my question to you is about how many minutes should we be exercising daily? I mean, some people will say, I don't have time. Should they start off small? Should they just flow into it? And especially if you have never been exercising and you haven't had a recent checkup, and a lot of times they will say you should check your body with the doctors first before you actually start doing any type of exercise that is out of me, because you don't want to harm yourself and all of these things. So what are some basic things in terms of exercise? How many minutes, and starting with the basic, what should we do?
I think if somebody has never done it before, 15 to 20 minutes to start with, 4 to 5 times a week. It could be as simple as doing the steps. That is great exercise. I remember when I was pregnant with my last child, we had 18 flights at the hospital I worked at then. And I would do those a couple times. And that was my best pregnancy. I was much older when I had her compared to the boys. And that was my best pregnancy. I gained the least. I took better care of myself. I was fit. For a pregnant person, I was able to fit back in my clothes 6 weeks after the baby. And that was a big accomplishment for me. But, you know, it could be as simple as that. There are a ton of YouTube videos for exercising different parts of your body. If you have a problem area, for example, you know, the abdomen is a big one, or just aerobics. You can find any of those videos on YouTube, and a lot of them are under half hour even. You know, if you feel so inclined, you could do a couple of them and work on problem areas and get, and get a little bit of the aerobic exercise too, because the aerobic is what you want to do. You want to get your blood flowing, get the heart moving, and strengthen that.
And then you're told that when you exercise that you actually release happy hormones
Sure.
from your body that we don't know exists. Many of us would have been happier if we're exercising, because obviously a lot of people underneath this, we are stressed even before COVID-19. And so I guess, as they say, having some exercise releasing happy hormone. It's not going to hurt. We might as well try something. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. Why not try it? So if you have to test it out. You have to see, does it make your body feel better? What do you notice if you start at the 10 minutes to 15 to 20 minutes and you do this every day and you start seeing what is happening with my body? I noticed that you must notice a change, because we really need our mind to not focus on what is happening. It's around us, but we still have to make sure that our mind is able to process information that is happening. Like, we need to still take care of other things in our lives, and it's not all about what is happening in the pandemic and all of that. And
reducing stress is very important, because you worry about everything else. The exercise helps you to cope with the stress portion of it.
So then I know you also were talking about nutrition and all of those things. And one of the things you mentioned was like the fatty food. And a lot of people, especially in New York, love fatty foods. They love the fries, they love their own. And that's the fast food, because, the grab and goes. That, I gotta just stop because I have to be here. And now with the pandemic, people are working different hours now. Everybody there, some employers are trying to share the hours between their employees. So this one might have to work this couple of hours, this one work this couple of hours, and everything like that. So depending, and I know about New York, I know New York is fast going. I know also, like, I don't know what is happening in my my homeland in Jamaica. I don't know what's happening in Denmark. I don't know what is happening in England. A lot of people have been shut down. England is still on, I don't know if they opened up. England is on a lockdown. France is on lockdown. All these places are on lockdown. So we're not mobile. We're actually shut in. And so hopefully it's supposed to help some people to stop doing the fast food and stuff like that. But then there's still delivery on the go. You can't sit in the restaurant, but there's still delivery. So I can't call DoorDash, call Uber, call whatever you need to call. There are people that are still doing that. How do we release ourselves from the fatty food? Do you think it has to be a change of the mind?
Well, I think this is a great time for people to learn how to cook, because they can control the salt, they can control the fat, they can control, the chicken minus the skin kind of thing. And you don't have to cook every day. For a large family, maybe every other day. Frankly, I don't mind having leftovers, because I hate to have to cook every day. And so, even if you don't have a big family and you cook a pot of soup, you can portion that off and stick it in your freezer for the times that you don't even want to cook. Make something else another couple of days, and you don't have to eat it all week long. Just portion size, stick it in the freezer, and you have food to go.
And you did say something very important: portion size. We're going to have to do that in another topic, because a lot of us are just eating. We just want to eat our plates full. Nobody's really thinking about portions. And then you look at somebody else and say, wow, they look so thin. I wonder what's happening. Oh, they probably just have good body. But some people really know how to portions. And you feel so much. And the funniest thing is, when you actually eat in portions, you feel so much better too, because sometimes you go to some restaurants, they actually use portions. Some restaurants just overload your plate. But there are some restaurants that are portioned. By the time you come out and eat, you look at your plate and you're like, wow, they didn't serve a lot. But when you come out, you don't feel laggy. You don't feel laggy. And then you go to like other restaurants and they your plate is like full and stuff like that. And then there are the leftovers, like you said, the food that the delivery comes and you have the leftovers, or you went and bought it, or you cook and you have the leftovers. But Maureen, what do you say to those people that don't like to eat leftovers?
Well, they're just going to have to make less. Make less. You don't have to throw it out. You don't have to worry about eating it.
Hmm.
Let me ask you something. They talk about, with the COVID, a lot of people were saying to drink tea with lemon or ginger.
Mm-hmm.
What have you done? What have you learned?
There are some foods have a lot of antioxidants. So what we call the toxins in our bodies are the free radicals. And the antioxidants in, say, green tea helps to cleanse those out of your body. Because if they stay there and they build up, this is when you have inflammation. This is when you can get inflammation is something else that leads to diabetes, So it's every so often you have to clean your body out. You can't just keep eating the same bad food and not, help it along with some antioxidants.
And let me just say this, disclaimer. We're making sure we have disclaimers. There's nothing set in stone here. Maureen, we're just having discussion and how to keep our body. There's nothing that you must do. So I'm saying these are disclaimers right now. Maureen is making suggestion on things that, so if she has tried something, she's talking. If we have tried something, we are saying, but nobody's saying that because probably you have done something that worked. There are people making ginger. They put in lemon in tea. They're doing all sorts of things in tea. And they're saying that they're building a toxic for their body and a lot of people are the ones who do that are people that are actually out in the healthcare industry too, or they're going out, so they're trying to make sure they have these toxins. Because I've talked to a lot of people that I know work in the health, and they're always talking about some toxic that they're some tonic that they're making, rather not toxic, some tonic that they're making to keep their body and stuff like that. But I know that when it comes on to what is happening, we know that God is bigger than this. We have to
all the time.
But this one has shocked the world. That's for sure. This one has shocked the world. But this one has shown that God is in control, regardless of what we have to say.
All the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't realize too that the bigger you get, these 700-pound patients, for example, I don't know if they believe how their care is compromised when they go into hospitals to get care because, like, for example, they can't fit into a CT scanner. They can't fit into an MRI machine. Don't wait to get to that point where you can't get the care that you deserve because we can't figure out what's wrong with you. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying anybody on this platform is like that, but I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, obesity has always been a problem, and we do know that obesity has also affected many people. Even before COVID-19, obesity was a problem, and people are overweight, and they will have issues that can lead to, like you said, strokes or diabetes and stuff like that. And some people will have a sweet tooth, and they can eat all the sweets in the world, and they get anything like diabetes or anything and stuff. Some people just are like that, built like that. So we know that when you look back throughout even your generations, we have taught on this platform more than one time that we don't believe that any sickness that comes from the generation must come on us. We do know that, and we come against that, and we declare that any generational infirmities or sickness will not come near us. We know that. But we also have to know that God expects us to use wisdom, and God expects us to take care of our bodies because He dwells in our temple. God can't live in some of us bodies. And that's just the plain truth. God can't be in some of us bodies because when He looks on the inside of our body, He's like, oh God, if you could see on the inside of your body, you would probably be faint. You would probably turn over, because when you see what is there and God is looking and he said, oh my God, what is going on in this body? I can't even get space to sleep. This part has too much obesity. This part has too much fat over here. This part has I need to lay down and rest, but I can't take my rest, and I'm just being comical here. But we got to make sure that yes, we are able to take care of our body, and reduce stress. Let me tell you something. Stress has been one of the main things that is causing people to just really, really lose hope. And especially now, there's no jobs, there's no money. What does I'm just waiting for 2020 to be over. A lot of people say that out of their mouth. That's all that is happening. A lot of people have thrown their hands up and just say that it makes no sense. If I get it, I get it. If I don't get it, I don't get it. And some people have really reached to a breaking point. What do we say to them as Christians and children of God? What do we say to these people who have decided that staying safe is not important anymore? Let's just go and live carelessly. What do we say to them as children of God? What do you say?
I think that's a very selfish thing to do, because not only is it affecting them and their own family, it's affecting everybody, and especially healthcare workers. And not because I'm one, I've seen it firsthand. These people are getting sick. They're dying. They can't cope. Look at the overflooded hospitals that we can't deal with. Think of all of those things, and let's not be, part of that equation.
That's true.
There's hope. There's life. You're still alive for a reason. Give God thanks and just look forward to better.
And you said something very important. We are all alive for a reason. There is a reason why we're still here. There's a reason why God has allowed us to even see today. We have, 2 or 3 more days left in the year, I think. And God has kept you for a reason. God has kept you in this pandemic for a reason. And God will keep you through it till the end. And we expect that this empowerment hour is giving you enough and helping you to really reflect on that God has brought you through a long way. We started shutting down in March, but this is 9 months later. What is it? 9, 10 months later. And we're still here. And if you are here and you know that there are things that you have to do to cope, we have to think of money. We have to think of all these different things. But we have been giving you tips, and we need you to also make sure that you apply what is given to you, not just come in and listen, but apply. And if there are questions, send questions in. We don't see anybody asking questions on the platform, so I'm guessing that they're all just, taking it in. So we don't see questions being asked. But if there are questions, feel free to send us your questions through email, or even send it through the messengers. And I'm certain that we can respond or send resources, and Maureen will also help with any suggestions and that she can. So we just want you to also know that this is for you, the people. God wants us to take care of our body. It's important that we empower not only the spiritual mind, but we empower our bodies by staying safe, by making sure that we eat healthy, making sure that we exercise. I'm gonna start having to just use my exercise with my children. I was doing it with them the other day because they still do gym even though they're in remote learning, but they're just doing it like one day, and stuff like that. But now I'm gonna have to. I told myself they have a lot of energy, so I'm gonna start putting away a couple minutes a day just to do it with them, and they'll be happy. The kids will enjoy it. It also is a family bonding time. It also helps you to bond with your children, which is exactly what you want. You want them not to be overwhelmed. You want them to remember that within this pandemic, we were able to come through because not only did God empower us spiritually, but God allowed us to, cope by also letting love flow through family, bonding, and all these different things. And I know that, Prophetess Wanda, that you have been there, but God has kept us.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Dance.
God has kept
Dance.
us, and God has kept me, and I'm so blessed. You know, when I think about this whole year, I had blessings and then losses, and blessings within the loss, you know.
Mm,
So we just have to thank God that He has given us that spirit to stay strong, to rest in Him, to just keep our minds focused on Him and always putting Him first, but to always use wisdom and knowledge. You know, we're here on this platform, sharing advice and things like that, but also for you to use wisdom and understanding and always seek God and always, put Him in front, put Him in your life. That's what we did. We put Him in front of, in front of everything. And He has sustained us. He has sustained us all. We have seen things, but He has kept us strong in what we've seen. We have prayed for people. We love on each other, and that's what we have to love on each other, help each other, and build each other up in the Word of God, and empowering each other with wisdom and understanding as we go forth. And this is what this is all about: empowering the people.
yes. And we want to really thank Marine for being here and being just such a trooper. And Prophetess Wanda also co-hosting with me tonight. We just want to just say that it's important for us to remember that within all of this midst, Christ is the one that must be glorified. Even in this situation, we have come thus far by God's
Yes.
authority. It is God that has kept us and nobody else. Listen, many of us have come in contact with COVID-19. The reason why we don't have it is because God has kept us. No plague, according to Psalm 91, no plague shall come nigh your dwelling. You must dwell under the shadow of the Almighty of God. That means that you need to be covered under His wings. And so we run with the mandate that God has given us, not only to equip the people spiritually, but that we can speak over our lives, even in empowerment. We can speak life to our bodies. We can speak life to our situation. We can speak life to those that we come in contact with. As Marine is in the healthcare industry, we celebrate her and all the others that are in the healthcare industry that are
Okay.
working, and all of you essential workers that are there. We celebrate you. We are very happy that you have been put in a place where God can use you to minister. And for those of you who are Christians and those of you who know God, your job is to do that. And within this prophetic ministry, I need you to also run with the mandate and to prophesy and to speak into the lives
Speak
of
life.
people. That's what we want you to do. We want you to speak healing. We want you to speak, listen, health, good health, decree good health, decree safety, whatever it is. So that's what we all want to do. And I want to just especially thank Marine for sharing her time. Marine is all
Yes.
the way in Texas too. So you see,
Texas.
distance is not a barrier. We're in New York, Marine is in Texas, and she's working night and day. And for taking out our time, it's really a privilege to have her on this platform. So if you have any questions, we want to make sure that you know that you can contact us at our number that is going to be call or text us, and it's running across the screen. Call or text us for prayer, or you can also contact us if you want to just ask questions. We have people on board that can give you some counseling that can help to set you to make sure that you are coping in this pandemic. With that being said, I want you also to know that we're going to be having crossover on Thursday night, December 31st at 9:30 p.m. All are welcome. Get your families, get your friends, put up the service on your big television or your computers, hook it up, have the big screen TV with GRM coming live for crossover. The theme, the time has come. That's what the word God
Hallelujah.
gave us. The time has come. With that, we just want to say thank you. We just want to
Thank you.
say bye. We just want to say shalom and may God
Shalom.
bless you. And we will
God bless you
see you
all.
next week.